Well, let's get started. We are so excited. Well, let's get started. We are so excited to have all of you join us on how to execute a great email marketing program. We have a really great webinar plan for you. I will tell you a few housekeeping issues. This webinar is being recorded, and you will be receiving a copy of the recorded webinar after this event. There was a handout that was added to the recording or to the webinar. Again, we will be sending out the handout along with the slide deck after the webinar is over, so you can be looking for that and hopefully share that with your team. I do want to take just a minute, since this is on marketing, to add a little plug for our 10,000 Small Businesses program. We are deep in recruiting for our next cohort, which will be at Long Beach City College for the fall of 2019. That will be cohort 23. We're already up to 23. The deadline for that is going to be May 15th. So if you have any friends or business owners that you think that this program would be a good fit for, please have them just go online and apply for the program. And that is at www.10ksbapply.com. So we would be more than happy to have them apply for the program. So now that we've got all of the business issues taken care of, we are so excited to have Karen Gunther with Stay Visible Marketing. Karen has been helping our 10KSB program, as well as presented a webinar for us last year, and it was very successful. So I'm going to have Karen just take a few minutes to introduce herself, and let's hear about how to execute a great email marketing program. So Karen, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate it. And thank you to everybody for attending today. One other quick note of housekeeping is you will see an opportunity to ask questions on the side of your screen. Please feel free to do that throughout the session. We will be answering the questions at the end, and we'll also be providing a question sheet with the additional handouts, the slide deck, the handouts, as well as the questions answered sheet. So if you didn't get a chance to hear anything, hear the questions answered, or you're curious to know what was asked, if you had to jump off early, those will be available for you. So let's chat about how to execute a great email marketing program. First, a little bit about me. My name is Karen Gunther. I'm with Stay Visible Marketing. I provide email marketing services to companies throughout the United States. I have worked on multiple different types of email marketing platforms. I work with list sizes from anywhere from 50 from 50 email addresses all the way up to 30,000 email addresses. So the sky's really the limit when it comes to email marketing. I started email marketing about 20 years ago for my own purposes when I was in sales, and I have since transitioned in the last 7 years to helping people produce email marketing programs for their companies. And to me, it's all about consistency, and that's the key to any marketing program. So let's talk about what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about how to create a great email marketing program. And there are the 4 planks, which is getting the contacts, the content, the service provider, and the analytics. So we're going to first start talking about contacts. Boy, that's a lot of words to say. We're first going to start talking about contacts because that's where everybody starts the process. When I work with new clients or I'm helping people figure out what to do about their email marketing, they always get stopped, and this seems to be a very large stumbling point for most people. They said, but I don't have email addresses for the people I work with. And my answer to you is you do, you just don't realize it. So we're going to talk today about not only the ways that you already have the email contacts, but how you can also acquire more. So how do you already have your email contacts? look, I wanted to make sure that you knew that as few as 50 would be fine, even less if that's what it had to take to get started on an email marketing program. Doing something is far better than doing nothing. So the most important thing is to start with people you know. From starting with people you know, you're looking at your current email program that you use, whether it's Outlook or Gmail or whatever your backbone is. Somehow, some way, those email addresses are physically saved in that program. Either it does it automatically, or you have to manually do it, or you have to direct it to do it, or you can use technology to help you gather the information and add it to your databases. There's a lot of ways to export that information, and also so then you want to go through that list and you want to look at it and say, okay, these people, this is my cousin and my mom and my sister, and I don't want to send to those people, but I do want to send to my clients and my prospects and the people that can refer me business. Those are the people you're generally looking for: clients, prospects, and people that can refer you business. In addition to that, you have trade groups. So if you're part of a trade group of people that can refer you business, you want to make sure that they're included on the email program. In addition to that, if you're part of a trade group and you're the vendor and half the people in the membership are people that you can sell to, you want to include those people on your list as well, because those are all worthy prospects for you. You can also look into your billing system. Many of them have AP contacts or the AR contacts in there, but the important thing about that is it gives you a clue as to where you need to start to see, not to send to the accounting contact, but to send to the appropriate contact within that company. Again, you don't have to have that many contacts to make it work. The other thing you can do is to get your employees involved. And some people offer incentive programs for their employees to do this. You want everybody in your company to consider themselves part of your marketing team or marketing staff. So you want them to feel like they're participating in the growth of the company, because obviously as you grow, they grow. The more business there is, the more opportunity there is for work. The more opportunity there is to, add people to the team and for people to, really enjoy working for you, if you will. And so if you can incentivize them, that helps get them going in the right direction to be collecting the email addresses. You might be surprised at the administrative staff within your firm that touch, your prospects and your clients and the people that refer business to you, and how often they're actually talking to them. You might actually be surprised. So to gather that information from them and to make it worth their while is a huge way to grow your list. And these first two items right here specifically, these are absolutely fantastic, because it is people that already know who you are and already know what it means to do business with you, or people like you. So therefore, you're going to have a higher open rate with these two categories of people you already know and having people that your employees collect their email addresses on. A little further afield is the social media. You can go onto social media and you can ask your social media contacts to join your list. You can place a sign up link on your forms. We'll talk a little bit more of that in some of the other slides, but there's a variety of social media elements out there that you can actually promote that you're doing email marketing and that you would like to gather information for a list. Much to that statement, you have your Facebook page. If you don't have a Facebook page, that's okay. You don't need to have one for your business, but many people do. They're free. They're free to set up. And if you do that, then you can have a Join My List button added to the sidebar of your Facebook page. And then that allows people to personally opt themselves in. And that's important language for you to hear: opt in, which means they've said, I want to be on your list. So everybody hears about the GDPR, they hear about the CAN-SPAM Act, and those things are very important to abide by. And having people opt into your list is a great way to ensure that you're only sending to people who actually want to receive your message. In addition to that, Facebook also provides you with a add a button feature that allows you to add a button to anything you want. In this case, you could add the button to go to your website to sign up for your list. You can also share your emails. So once you start doing your email marketing program, you can share your emails on social media, whether it be Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram even. You can share those on there. And when you share those, you can also include a link that says, if you want to sign up to receive, this content and more, sign up here. Once again, it's an opt-in thing. You're 2% of the list that you're sending to may not see the email, but they'll see it on Facebook or some other social media channel. And in addition to that, there's people on your social media channel that may not be on your list that might like to be on your list. I personally know that I will sign up for people's lists for things that I'm interested in. And I'm sure you do the same too. So it's very feasible to think that people would want to do that. So now you know, those are all free options that I've just talked about. Every single one of those are free with the exception of incentivizing your employees, of course, but that can be done in a variety of ways. You can also buy a social media ad. As you'll notice here above the dog's head, you'll see it says Hearts and Tails Animal Rescue, and it says sponsored. Whenever you see sponsored on a ad on social media, that means that somebody paid to have that ad placed there based on the type of person you are, your interests, what you tend to like, what type of comments you make, what type of posts you make, what type of pictures you post. So they're going through and they're sorting through to say, hey, I want to reach these people. You can do the same thing with your business. You can say, I want to reach this type of person with this type of median income, this age group, this type of interests, and this type of company that they're a part of, whatever. And it would go in and it would only show that ad to those people. And then you can say, join our mailing list. And that's another great way to, once again, opt in, those keywords, opt into your list. You can add a form to your website. This is something that's very easy to do. My suggestion is you not only add it to your homepage, but you add it throughout your website. I wouldn't just put it on the footer though. I would actually put it in key areas where you might be delivering some interesting information and say, if you want to hear more about something like this, about whatever this item is or service is, click here to join our mailing list and you'll receive information. And that gives you a great idea of who's interested in what within your prospect base and client base. So it's very easy to add that in. Once you have that added in, you can either manually add it to your email database, or there's automated features and coding that allows it to add it just automatically to whatever email service provider you're working with. You can also promote on blogs. And when I say promote on blogs, I don't mean just the blogs that you're writing and posting, because obviously those are great ways to do that. But also, let's say you're into a consumer form of business and, for example, like it says here, you can find additional healthy recipes by joining our mailing list, and then you add the mailing list link that's on your website. Once again, it's an opt-in basis. People say, I want to join your list because they're interested in the content that you're providing. Collect emails with an online survey. Surveys are not just for a one-time thing to find out if they like your service or anything like that. It can be used for just about anything. So you can send out a survey, and at the end, you can ask, would you like to be, entered, to receive information. It states here that, as you can see on item number 2, that says, I consent to receive email communications from the survey. So therefore you can collect information that way, and people understand that they're doing that. It's never good to do subterfuge to say, we're collecting your email, but we're never going to use it. I mean, really, when is that ever going to be the case? You just say, hey, we do a consistent email marketing program, and we'd like to keep you informed. You've seen cases in yourself where you get to choose, I want 1 email a day, 1 email a week, 1 email a month, 1 email a quarter. You can even set that kind of timing up so that it depending upon the service provider you choose, to be able for people to moderate the number of emails that they get from you. Most of what I'm talking about today is based on more of a 1 to 2 per month, email marketing program. I don't find that to be very intrusive. It's different for every industry, but it's important to know that you can certainly have people sign up for the time frame that they want to receive emails within. This is an absolutely fantastic way to build your email list, is to put it in your signature. Whatever email program you use, you have the opportunity to have a signature at the bottom of your emails, right? Well, there's no reason why you can't place a link or a button of some form down there that says, please join our mailing list. And by doing that, the people you're actually talking to and actually having conversations with on a day-to-day basis through your business will see that and generally take advantage of that opportunity. Once again, it's opt-in keywords. So therefore, it's just something that happens magically in the background. It's a very passive way to build your email list. It's a great way to get started. If you're starting from nothing, this is a great way to just get started beyond looking at your existing list, is to add that signature line on there. Some email providers provide a text to sign up option, which means people would text a number. You've seen that when you've gone other places, I'm sure. You can text to 12345 with your email address and you'll be added to our email list, or you'll get this thing or whatever. Same opportunity. People are able to click on or are able to just type in that thing on texting, add their email address, and whammo bammo, they have once again opted in to your system, keywords. So using your packaging. So if you're the type of business that sends out packages to people, there's no reason why you couldn't put a QR code or a text to join or a URL telling people how to join your emailing list. Once again, if they've already purchased something from you, there's a box coming into the mail or a envelope coming into the mail from you to them, they've purchased something, they're a great opportunity to add to your email list and to have them do it as an opt-in. The last great way that we're going to talk about today, there's so many ways to add contacts, but I just wanted to keep it limited here, is during event registration. So if you sign up for an event or let's say you're going to a trade show, you definitely want to get the card scanner so that you can scan badges and see who actually stopped by your booth, if that's an option. If that's not an option, you want to see if you can get the list of the attendees and kind of mark off who you saw and who you talked to be able to add them to your list. Now, technically, these are not considered opt-in, and I'm going to take a minute here to explain the difference. To opt-in contacts means that I, Karen Gunther, have said that you, ABC Company, can send me emails, and I'm giving you implicit and express permission to do that. That's considered opt-in, and I'm putting my email address in. I'm saying, yes, I want you to do that. When you go through your email list, your contact database that you have on your email, and you're adding in your 5 clients that you've had since you started the company, there's no reason why those people wouldn't want to receive those emails from you. So you have what's called implied permission, not express permission. So therefore, you're saying, I know these people want to get my emails, and these people also have the right to unsubscribe. Part of this CAN-SPAM Act, when it comes to adding contacts to your database, includes that you must have your company name, your mailing address, and a phone number on your, actually it's company name and email, company name, email address, and mailing address on your email. And you must also have an opportunity to unsubscribe listed on your email as well, so that people have the right to remove themselves from your list should they want to do that. So it does not mean that you can't just email things to people that don't know who you are, or like from a trade show, you receive the list, but they may not have stopped at your booth, but you know that they're good opportunities for your company is to sell something to them, because you know they're there for a reason, and most likely, I mean, you know who your clients are and they match that description. There's no reason why you can't send those people a contact, an email, but at the same time, you must also give them the right to unsubscribe. And as long as you do that and have your mailing address and your company name on the email, you're following the spirit of the CAN-SPAM Act. The GDPR rules that are coming in from Europe are making things a little bit more difficult. They're asking for people to have cookies, to approve cookies on their website, and to say, yes, I know that you will be sending me emails, and there's more verifications involved. That's all fine and good. There's ways around that in terms of legally following those guidelines, and certainly an email marketing person can help you with that. So those are the 14 ways that I wanted to cover today as to how to go about, adding contacts to your program. Once again, you only need to have 50. I mean, many of you have 50 sitting right there in your email thing. So just start with something and then build from there. Let's talk about content. To me, content is about subject lines, how to set up your emails for success, what content to use, which is what you would think this would be about, right? Annual calendars as a guide for content, a final check on email contact. And I just want you to know content is far more than just the words that you use. The first point of content that you need to talk about is how to get a higher open rate, and that all comes down to the subject line. When they open their email, they decide when they look at their emails in the morning, what is junk, what is something that's relevant, what's important. Okay, so therefore you want to choose a recognizable from name, whether it's a person's name or your business name. You want to use a real reply address, not an oddball, non-branded reply address. You want to make sure you have a really good subject line. There's a lot of resources out there that share with you what to do and what not to do in order to have a great subject line. If you're interested in any of those, let Cheryl know on the questions, or otherwise I can send you links to those. And then also in some of the email marketing programs, they offer the opportunity for you to add what's called pre-header text. This is text that's only seen on mobile, or if people have preview available on their Outlook or desktop email program. And the pre-header line allows you a little bit more words and allows you an opportunity for a little bit more incentive of what to show people. And most importantly, the time of day. When you're dealing with time of day on business to business, you want to catch people after lunch or after they get in. On Mondays, you want to catch them after lunch because Monday morning, everybody's crazy, right? Tuesday through Thursday, you can do in the morning or the afternoon. You want to catch them during those 2 prime hours in the morning and those 2.5 hours in the afternoon. And then on Fridays in the mornings only. The reason for this is some people bug out early on Fridays. People are too busy on Monday mornings, and you don't want to catch people if you just watch yourself tomorrow or even today when you come in after lunch, you're sitting there waiting with your finger poised over the delete button. I guarantee you. That's what most people do. So you want to make sure that it looks like a real email coming in. If you're a business to consumer service or product, it really depends upon the service or product, and you would need to investigate what works for that. Other things to set up your content. We haven't even talked about the content to use yet there's all this other information. Again, you'll be receiving all of this in the slide deck, so you can go back and reference it. You want to make sure to use your mobile responsive email templates so that it can be seen on tablet, cell phone, or a desktop. You want to make sure that your branding's on the email and that you're linking to your website, and you're linking with images to different areas of your website or wherever you want people to go. You want to make sure the fonts look good and that they match throughout the entire email. And you want to make sure to use color and make it look right. I personally don't care for emails that have a dark background because when I hit reply, it takes the dark background up through and it makes it difficult to see the replies in the back and forth. So I prefer a white background, but that's just personal preference and also seeing the reality of that over the years. Now we're going to talk about real content. What content? Here's 20 items right here. I'm just going to pick a few. Like number 15, provide a gift guide. What that will do is it provides you with an opportunity to, help people say, hey, it's Valentine's Day just passed. It's Valentine's Day, or it's St. Patrick's Day, or you have an anniversary coming up. A lot of people are married in May and June, so you can do that if you have a service or business that works with that type of thing. If you have a milestone for your company, if you just celebrated a 10-year anniversary or 20-year anniversary, or you have employees that are celebrating big numbers in terms of anniversaries. The other really great thing is how-tos. People are really hungry to learn how to do things. They want to understand things. They're no longer content to wait until somebody else come in and explain how to do them. They want to find out for themselves. So if you can do some sort of how-to about what you provide for your company, or service, then that's really a great way to get emails opened, is to do that. It's really way more important to have consistency than it is to have perfect content. So when you're going through the content process, don't get too hung up on, oh, but I think the sentence should be structured like this or structured like that. Really focus more on is it fine? Is it communicating a good message? The whole point of this is to catch people's interest so that they can move forward and want to learn more. It's not to actually give them everything that they need to know about that item right there in that format. It's to just wet their whistle so that they can go click on something to learn more. The calendar is your friend. So you want to be able to tie in. You can do one email a month and tie into a holiday, no matter what your product or service is. So if you look at this, list, I mean, my gosh, who couldn't have fun with National Cheesecake Day? Everybody's doing something for 4th of July, but what about National Cheesecake Day? My God, what fun you could do with that. So it makes it interesting, makes it different, gets people thinking, and it's not just something that says, I'm selling to you. even though that's what you're actually doing. So the last thing you want to do is you want to check the content overall. You want to make sure that you have a good number of images, but not too many. You want to make sure your words that you're using are concise and that they say what they need to say, but you're not being too verbose, or that you want to make sure you say something. So some emails I see just have images on them with the text on the images, but that doesn't translate too well. Sometimes if people want to copy paste something. So you have to make sure you have some sort of copy and text on there. You want to make sure that you have a call to action. And what a call to action means, you want to have a button for people to push to learn more, or to go read this, or to go take some action that says that they're interested in your product or service and what you're communicated about on that email. So on that call to action, it could be anything. And I highly suggest that when you're putting images in emails, that you link every single image in your email to something on your website or somewhere, even if it's to an email address, so that the person can send you an email about it. You also have a button, like I said, the call to action button. By doing that, you're setting yourself up well to look at your analytics, which we're going to talk about in about 5 minutes here. We're going to talk about analytics and the importance of that. So without having things to link to, you're not going to get that data as to who's interested in what item. So you want to make sure to link to something. And you always want to include relevant social media links as well. So let's talk about service providers. Some of you have a service provider already, some of you don't. Some of you are looking at, how do I select a service provider? Or I like my service provider, but they're not doing great. Is there another one out there? So let's talk about what it takes to select a service provider, okay? And when I say service provider, we're talking about the actual email program that sends out the emails. It's all done third party. So you want to make sure you understand what their deliverability rate is. You want to understand how their cost structure is. You want to understand how easy it is to use their platform. So for example, on deliverability, this is just a chart that I found on emailtooltester.com, and it shows you what the different email deliverability is. I have worked with some programs that have a 30% deliverability rate. Gosh, why would I do that? Why would I work on a program that has that? Well, because a client of mine generally buys lists. Yeah, said the word, purchase lists. They buy lists of about 10,000 contacts or more. And we want to make sure to clean the list before we send it out. So we send it through a lower level deliverability provider that will just take any email in and send it out. And we see who opened it and what was delivered. And then we only take the ones that were delivered. Even though the others might be fine, we're just going to be sure and only take the ones that were delivered or opened, and then move them to a higher level deliverability server. We tend to go through 2 or 3 different platforms before we get to the top platform with the highest deliverability. Now, you don't have to do that, but I'm just telling you there's reasons for different deliverability. Some people are known for sending out spam email. You and I have all received it. It says spam or junk on the front of it, whether it's to our personal or to our business email addresses. We see those emails come across to us, and we generally delete them or unsubscribe from them. But the ones that have the higher deliverability, which are the ones you want to focus on for your business, are the ones that have the ability to get that email address in the inbox. And when you do that, the top one here on this form is ActiveCampaign, then Drip, and Constant Contact. I personally use Constant Contact as my primary delivery device, because I find their deliverability is great and I love their reporting. And I find that their platform is very easy to use and they have great rates for most of my clients. So between all of that, I tend to work with that, but that's just personal preference. Everybody can choose what they want. The next thing you want to look at is cost, and these are some different ways that the costs are assumed, and it's very interesting to see how that works. It's based sometimes it's based on the number of contacts in your database. Sometimes it's based on what they're offering you for the different rates. You know, you can add it to social media, or you can get this feature or that feature or this type of reporting, depending upon the options, is based on the rate plans. Sometimes it's based on how many emails that you can send throughout the month. Sometimes they do a combination of those. And sometimes they add their branding to the very top of the email or the very bottom of the email. And so if you pay more money, you can have that removed and have it look like it came from you 100%. I'm also very interested always to find out what the primary function of the provider is. I know GoDaddy provides email marketing, but I wouldn't use them for that personally. because I would prefer to personally work with a company that only does email marketing and that's their focus. But it may be a fantastic program, so I don't want to disrespect it in any way, but I tend to prefer to go with, if this is what you do, if that's what that company does as their primary focus, that's who I want to work with. And then if for those of you who may have a CRM, customer relations management tool software, such as Salesforce or Goldmine or ACT or something, does it integrate with that? Or can it integrate if you pay more money? Ease of use. This is just another chart that I found on that same website that says, okay, what's easy to use in ranked order here? So Active Campaigns, according to whoever did the reviews, felt that they were the easiest ones to use, and so on down the line. You just want to, a lot of times they offer trials, so you might want to use the trials basis for several of them and see which one makes sense to you. Some are easier than others. Whatever you get used to will seem easy to you. So let's talk about the real thing, which is the email analytics. This is the real deal when it comes to email. So you've spent all this time, you've put together your contacts, you've put together some content, you've sent an email out, you found the service provider, you sent the email out. Now what? This is the proof is in the pudding right here. You want to be able to take a look at these 4 items when you're doing email analytics. The open rate, click-through rate, bounce rate, and unsubscribe rate. These are all very important things to look at. So let's take a look at the open rate. What does that mean? Okay, the open rate is, again, remember we talked about this in the content section, contingent on people who it was sent to. So if you're sending to a list of people that are your clients, prospects that you've actually talked to and referring people you'll have a very high open rate. But if you're sending to a list that you've purchased, you will have a very low open rate. I have people I work with that are in the same industry. One is sending to an entirely purchased list, and the other is sending into an entirely personal list. The personal list people are receiving, 67% open rate, which is crazy amazing. Okay, I'm looking generally for 20% or greater, and they're at 67%. Other clients I work with in the same industry are at 30% open rate ongoing. Because they're sending to a list of people who know them, so they're willing to open their emails. In addition to that, the people who are sending to a purchase list are receiving a 7 and 8% open rate, much lower, but they're sending to a lot more people, so their throughput's still very high in terms of leads. So it just depends on how you look at it and what your list is composed of. So it's based on who it was sent to, the time of day it was sent, and what your subject line is. So those are the 3 things you need to consider when you look at open rate numbers. The equation is the number of emails opened divided by the total number of emails sent. For example, if you sent out to 600 people and 150 people email addresses opened it, then you have a 25% open rate, which is great. You're generally looking for over 20%, in my opinion. I find that to be a good number to shoot for. Now, how do you know these numbers? Well, what happens is these software providers, these email software platform providers, they add a little code in there so that when it's open, the server of the person who opened it communicates back to your email provider and says, this email got opened. And it doesn't always communicate back to the provider too. So whatever your open rate, it's always going to be higher in actuality because the communication between the computers isn't always there, as one might imagine, right? So what are some industry standards? I just chose the first 7 or 8 business types just to make it easy for the slide so that you could see it. You can see here the industry standards are anywhere from 12.5% to 23% with a consultant, or being at 13.5%. Like I said, I prefer to go for 20% open rate, but that's just my personal goal. All industries overall is 16.19%. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like. Some people, when they send out emails, are very depressed if they get less than 80%. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get over 67%, to be honest with you. And they're like, but why didn't the people open it? Well, you don't know. You don't know why they didn't open it, and they may have opened it and it just didn't record back. So it's not a personal thing. It's just the way the numbers work and statistics work. So 20% is what you're looking for in my book. And when you look at the mobile and tablet versus desktop, it's important to look at those numbers. So if your numbers are very high on mobile, in terms of mobile opens, such as the highest one on this list is the accommodations. And then the desktop open rate, the highest one on that list is consultant training. You want to make sure that you're building your email so that it's appropriate for the type of device it's going to be opened on. And it's not that difficult. They show you how to do it. They show you the previews. It's very simple to do. There's no major coding or anything you have to know. You just have to be aware of pushing the right buttons and, just previewing it and taking a look at it. And when you do that, though, if a majority of your people open on mobile and tablet, you want to make sure your mobile template always looks fantastic and that the desktop is okay. If people primarily open on desktop, you want to make sure that the desktop version looks fantastic. Let's talk about click-through rate. Remember, these are the links in your email. Every single email I send out, the logo for the company is linked back to their website. Any image that's in there is linked. Text is linked. There's buttons, call to action buttons. If somebody even accidentally clicks on something, they're going to see a click. They're going to see a click-through because it's important to know that people are interacting with the email. So the email provider will provide you with the total number of clicks versus the total number of opened. That's how you determine your rate. In our example, 150 people opened the email and 12 people clicked on something. Now you might say to yourself, gosh, only 12 people clicked on something? That doesn't seem like much out of 600 people. Well, the reality is that those 12 people, you can think of it as they just left you a voicemail saying, please call me back and let me know about this product. So that's 12 people that you didn't have leaving you a voicemail that have now just left you a voicemail for you to connect with them. So that's significant. Plus you have the other, 138 people out of the 150 that actually open the email that are also primed for a phone call if you want to get your sales reps calling them. Some click-through rates that you can take a look at. The industry average overall is 7%. And you can see the others that are shown there. The bounce rate. This shows you what emails bounce. Now, emails, there's two kinds of bounces. There's a hard bounce, which means there might be a typo. It might be somebody left the company. Company's no longer around. Whatever. It's a hard bounce, which means that is no longer valid email address. Soft bounces are usually temporary situations. The vacation auto reply is on. The server is full. Their email box is full. Whatever, those are generally soft. So you generally want to keep in mind that you always keep the soft bounces on your list and the hard bounces you remove. You're looking for generally less than 5% with a general rule of less than 3%. And how that's equated is the total number of bounced emails divided by the total sent. In our situation here, we had 21 emails bounce out of 600 emails sent, so that's 3.5%, with a bounce rate much higher. I'm used to seeing under 5%, so these numbers were somewhat surprising to me, but it is what it is. So this is just what the numbers are as of December of 2018, so just a couple months ago. And then unsubscribes. Please do not take unsubscribes personally. Number of my clients are like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that person unsubscribed from me. It's like they've been unfriended or something, right? That has nothing to do with it. Some people just get tired of receiving email, or they feel like they know you, they don't need to see the email, or the content is no longer relevant to them. It's very normal to have unsubscribes on your list. Some people know that they're leaving the company, so they just start unsubscribing from things. But whatever the situation is, it isn't personal. Most email platforms with excellent reputations for deliverability, let me clarify that. Most email platforms with excellent deliverability, very high deliverability, are looking for less than 5 unsubscribes for every 1,000 emails sent. So if you send out to 1,000 people and you have 4 unsubscribes, that's great. If you have 50 unsubscribes, they may put a little flag on your account and want to chat with you about where you got your list from. Other services that don't have as high deliverability, the spammy type servers that we discussed before, they don't care. They're fine. They don't care about unsubscribes at all. So the equation is total unsubscribes divided by total sent. So in our example, we had 5 unsubscribes out of 600. So that's still pretty high compared to the list. It's 0.08%. The industry averages are 0.02% as a whole. And you can see those numbers there. So we have talked about a lot of stuff today. We've gone over a lot of content. We went over the 4 different planks of the email marketing program in terms of contacts, content, how to choose a service provider, and how to do your analytics. I'm really interested to know what your questions are, and I'm going to let Cheryl take over that portion.
Wow, Karen, you did offer a ton of information. I do have a couple of questions here. Let's start off. One of the questions is, okay, what if I am not on social media? You know, our business owners, sometimes it's like, okay, I'm trying to run my business. I don't have time to do all of this stuff. What would you suggest if they are not on social media, or if they have limited time and only have time to do, you know, one or two? What would you suggest of where they should start?
I personally feel, and that's a great question actually, I would personally feel that people should always start with an email marketing program. Email marketing has the best bang for your buck across the board, period. To put a sales rep on the phone with somebody is nice, but that's a lot of money that that's a lot of investment as a business owner that you're making to provide that person's salary, the phone lines, the training, everything that's required for that. If you do a direct mail marketing piece, it's a very low rate of return on that. If you do social media, it's very hard to measure social media as to whether it's really effective or not. It certainly is a brand builder, but it may not sell anything. So it's very hard to see how that might directly impact your sales. But when it comes to email marketing, there's a direct correlation between I sent an email out, these people called me, and if we trace them through the process, either it's immediate or long-term, depending upon your sales cycle, you can tell if your emails had impact on that sales process. And email is very low dollar comparatively to send out, to have a program. I only charge $350 a month to help my clients with their email marketing programs. I keep it very value oriented for a reason, because it's more important for me that people do a consistent program. Other companies charge more, other companies charge less. If you're going to do it on your own, it's still low dollar. If you have only 200 contacts on your database to start, you can start with Constant Contact or other programs for under $30 per month. It takes a couple of hours a month to get that email out, make sure your contacts are correct, and look at the results. So it's a very low cost of time investment as a whole to go through and do an email marketing program. So if you're not on social media, that's just fine. You don't have to post anything on social media. You don't have to try to build your list through social media. Most of us already have everything we need in order to do an email marketing program. And in my opinion, on everything I've seen, it's a very low dollar cost. People say, oh, but social media is free. It's free with the exception of the time that's spent and the lack of being able to track the rate of return. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Okay. Keep the questions coming. So one of the questions is, somebody has Constant Contact. You talked about a service provider, and Constant Contact was one of them. The question is, how do you know what's a hard versus soft bounce? On Constant Contact, it only shows bounced as a category on my account, so I'm not sure whether or not to delete those contacts. Maybe you can talk about
absolutely. I'm more than happy to speak specifically to Constant Contact. That, like I said, that's of the 5 different service providers I use, that is the primary service provider that I use. So I'm more than well aware of how they handle things. When you go into your account and you go into your campaign, you see your campaign was sent, and it'll tell you that when you click on the campaign screen, you can click on that campaign and it'll say, 15% open rate or 20% open rate, whatever it is. When you click into it, it'll say X number bounced. You click on the bounce number, it should be hyperlinked. And when you click on that, then you go into it, it'll take you to a completely different screen that will show you a very detailed report. They have 5 different categories. I kept it to 2 for our conversation today, but they technically have 5 different categories of bounces. They have undeliverable and invalid email addresses, which are considered hard bounces. They also have a suspended feature, which says that we know it's a good email address, but we're not going to send to it because it never gets opened. So it's not getting delivered, so we're not going to include it in our numbers because we want to inflate our numbers to make them look good. So you have the suspended, and then you have the vacation auto reply, and then you also have the other category in constant contact. They don't know why it bounced, it just bounced, they can't figure out why. So what happens is that they go in, you can go in, and there's a selection there. It says recommended for removal. You can select the ones that are recommended for removal. Those are just the hard bounces. Do select all and hit delete, and those will be removed from your database.
Wow, very cool. And so easy. I mean, it gives you the email addresses right there. So you could do it with one click and remove them. You don't have to go in unless you want to or choose to go in and delete them individually. You could do it with that one click.
Correct.
Okay. Another question. Hopefully you will understand this one. Does discounts, and I assume giving discounts for either signing up for an email, that's where I'm assuming this is going. Does giving discounts create returning clients, or is it better to use like a birthday gift?
I just have a personal opinion on that piece. I think people like to think that they're getting something for free versus getting a discount. As a whole, we're pretty engendered as a population through marketing practices of the last 50 years to look for the freebie. I know that if your business is driven by wanting people to come in and try your business or to be regular providers, I think that doing a free gift is actually better than a discount. If you want them to sign up for your email list, if it's some small item that can be redeemed immediately, that as soon as if they're standing in line, let's say you're a food company and you're at a small restaurant and they're standing in line, and they can sign up right then for your email list and then receive the free nachos or the free chips on the side or the free fries or something, or the free Coke or the free drink, that you can provide that, and then they can show they immediately receive an autoresponder email as soon as they put their name on the list. A second later, they receive the email back that says they get the free drink. They can then show the free drink, coupon to the person, and your staff can put the code in. That's probably the best way to do it, so it's an immediate access item. If it's just going to be a discount, that's fine, but you don't know if they're actually going to come in and use it. And when you're using those types of tactics, my assumption is you want people to physically use it so that they can experience your service and your quality.
Right. Okay. Very cool. Thank you. So the next question is, we have an IT business and most of our client base is through referral. We want to do a small event for potential customers with one of our voice internet vendors, but we're wondering which way to go for a list. Should we buy a list? Should we try to access the local Chamber of Commerce? I would think one more, should we send something out to our current clients and let them know that, we're going to be having this event and bring a friend? How do you suggest they go about doing this event to bring in more customers?
That's a fabulous question, because to talk about a toughie, because you're trying to reach out to new prospects, but at the same time, you don't have access to that information, and especially with the IT industry and with your VoIP provider, you want to see I would say, could your provider provide you with a list of people that they've received as contacts of people who have been interested in their services? I would start there. The second thing is that I would maybe go to LinkedIn and see who looks like your client on LinkedIn and connect with that person, and then go in and collect their email address. You have to do it manually now. You used to be able to download it. You can't do that anymore, but you can manually download it. I would also do an ad, especially if it's a business to business a situation, which it sounds like this is, if it's business to business, that I would actually do an ad on LinkedIn stating that you're going to be having this event and you want people to sign up for it, and you only want it, and you want it to include what's called a lookalike, only people from this type of industry or this type of person or this type of title would receive that ad. It would be very worthwhile to spend a little bit of money, I think, on LinkedIn, and you would probably get some traction there, and you would just have to make sure you did great follow-up. I would also look to see who has inquired about your business previously but didn't follow through. And if you don't have those records, find a way to find those records or start keeping those records. I would also personally ask, not email, but personally ask the people you're already doing business with who else they know or what trade organizations they're with that might have people like them in it, and see if they can help you get the list. People are generally very helpful when they're asked personally for something. Those are my ideas for right now.
Very, very cool. Thank you. You know what? We have about 5 minutes left. I'm going to try and make a two-part question that I think would be really helpful. So the first part is, do I have to have a CRM, which is a customer relationship management system, something like Constant Contact or MailChimp? So one, should I have that? And two, what if I do have that? Really, the question was, I didn't realize that one of the other service providers had such a low open rate. If I do have one, should I try a couple of different platforms or providers? Or, should I stick with what I'm comfortable with, even though maybe if I switched, I could get a higher open rate? Maybe you could address that.
A CRM is a customer relations management tool. It's generally just a database where you maintain your contacts and the activity you have with your contacts. The email platforms such as MailChimp and Constant Contact, Aweber, things of that nature are email marketing platforms. So if you are on, for example, MailChimp, because they had the lowest on the graph that was provided. If you're on MailChimp, many people are on MailChimp because they have a free program up to 2,000 contacts. You could have free email marketing, but what's the price of the email marketing if you're not getting to those additional people for open rates? To me, I would balance the equation on three different things. One of which is what is the open rate? I would always go for the highest deliverability provider that I could, combined with cost and ease of use. Those three things. So if you're on MailChimp, you could very easily transition to Constant Contact. It's a similar program. In fact, if I were you, I would try it out for 3 months. Just switch over for 3 months and move 500 or less contacts over, and do send one email out 1 week and 2 weeks on MailChimp, and the next email out a couple weeks later on Constant Contact, and do a trial and see which actually gets a better open rate and gets a better, and try using it. Using it just once for an email will not tell you how easy it is to set things up. I would use it over, at least 3 to 4 emails total, just so you get the hang of it and the hang of how they do things and how they provide the information. I personally, if it were me, I would switch because I would want the open rate personally.
Okay. Well, great. That answered a couple of questions that people had submitted. I'm going to make this the last question. And if you do have questions, you know what? Karen's email is on the screen. I'm sure you can reach out to Karen. So let me ask this one question, and then I'm going to turn it back to Karen and let her wrap this up. What do you think the best number, kind of in your experience, of how many emails sent out provides the best return on investment?
If you're talking about quantity per month, or
right, maybe how many times per month, or how many per week? Maybe just a little bit about frequency.
Okay, so there's different ways to answer that question. That's actually a very big question.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I'll go as quick as I can. So there's 2 ways to look at it. I believe in having a consistent marketing program. If you segment out your list so that you have one that's going, you have 4 different industry categories that you normally work with, or you just do clients, prospects, and referring partners, and you have one email for each and then one email that can go to everybody. So you have 4 emails. You can do 1 email per week. Then you're hitting somebody every week and you're filling your pipeline a little bit each week from each of those categories or industry categories. That's no problem. I do not suggest sending more than 1 email every 2 weeks to any given group at any given time. So if you go send an email to your clients, I wouldn't send more than 2 emails per month to your clients if you're in a business-to-business category. If you're business to consumer, it may be more appropriate to send it weekly. But really, think of yourself. How often do you really want to receive emails? I cannot tell you the number of times I sit here and I am subscribed from so many different email lists. How I get on them, I have no idea. And even as an email marketing professional, I unsubscribe from lists daily because I'm tired of these people sending me stuff 2 and 3 emails a day, 2 and 3 emails a week, 2 and 3 emails, every other week. So I don't like that. I would much rather prefer to get 1 every month, 1 every couple of weeks. That seems a lot more reasonable to me to keep them top of mind. So if you want to do a more consistent program where you're sending something out every week, do it through list segmentation. Otherwise, contain it to 1 to 2 per month.
Great. Why don't you wrap it up, and then I'll just say a few closing words at the end.
Okay, so we talked about the 4 planks of how to acquire more contacts, how to identify content that you already have, which is really important that you know that you already have the content. People get hung up completely on contacts, how to acquire them, and what to say. The easy parts are selecting the provider, and you can change, as the other person was suggesting, if you don't like the results you're getting. And then also the most important part is the follow-up that you do to the emails. I have a form that I can send. I'll have Cheryl, if you write down my email address there and send me an email, I'll be more than happy to provide you with a follow-up template that tells you exactly with a script how to follow up via phone, email, and it's a voicemail if you have to leave a voicemail. With people after you've sent an email. So if you sent out the email, you saw they click through, it provides a phone script, and then the following week you can follow up via email using similar language to be able to follow up with those people and keep that lead warm. Cheryl?
Wow, you know what? Thank you so much, Karen. That was so much information just on one little slice of the pie of marketing. Just on email marketing alone. So we thank you so much. If you do have other questions, please feel free to reach out to Karen. So with that, we are going to wrap this up, and you will be receiving a recorded message with handouts, with slide deck. That was a whole topic, just follow-up script and follow-up after the email. That was a whole topic that we could have covered in just one webinar as well, but we will attach that as well. So again, if you've got friends or business owners that you know that are interested in our 10KSB program, we suggest that you have them apply. They will be getting information like this and valuable resources. And we just appreciate Karen being such a great partner of our program. So with that, we're going to wrap up our webinar. Have a great rest of the week, and thank you so much for attending. We so appreciate it.